Hi guys, Jen here from First Step Nutrition, and today I wanted to talk about the top 4 myths I hear with baby-led weaning. And these myths are really pervasive in some of the very large baby-led weaning Facebook groups out there, so unfortunately this information gets spread over and over but is not evidence-based. So the first myth is food before 1 is just for fun. You know, on one hand, I like this saying because it takes pressure off of parents to feel like they need to get their kid to eat a certain amount because, you know, we never want to force or pressure our children to eat more. But on the other hand, you know, there are lots of reasons for starting solids around 6 months of age when your baby's ready. And from, you know, preventing picky eating to preventing allergies, giving them lots of, you know, experience with their different senses and tastes. But one of the main reasons why food before 1 is not just for fun is because of nutrition. And as a dietitian, nutrition is very important to me. And I know that iron is a super important nutrient for your baby to start getting from solids around 6-7 months of age. And I had an experience where my daughter was, you know, low in iron when I had not been focusing on it when using baby-led weaning. And it's not just my story. There was one study of 4 Canadian cities that found 34% of 8 to 15-month-olds were iron deficient and 4% were anemic. So severe iron deficiency. So iron is really important for physiological growth, for mental growth, and can lead to irreversible, unfortunately, irreversible struggles like, you know, lack of attention span if your baby or children do not get enough. So the solution there, you know, is just to offer your baby a source of iron at each meal. I see lots of parents just offering fruits and veggies from the start because they don't know how to offer other foods or other nutrients, but you know, there are lots of ways, even when using self-feeding and baby-led weaning, to offer baby some iron. Now the number 2 myth is, I know there's so many parents who are afraid their baby's going to choke and really focused on it, but there's another group of baby-led weaners that don't worry about choking. They say, well, my, you know, study of N=1 being my own baby was fine when I fed him an apple. So baby should eat raw apples, baby should eat all textures, hard textures. When really, when you look at the research, there have been 2 studies that show the number 1 thing baby-led weaners choke on is full apples. Now overall, in the research, baby-led weaners are not more likely to choke than pureed feeders, which is great, but no matter how we start our baby on solids, we do need to focus on choking prevention. So that's looking at safe size and safe texture foods. Because your baby's air pipe is about the width of a straw, so if you offer them something like a full apple that they can bite off a perfectly round shape that's hard so they're not able to cough it up on their own, it could lead to choking. So myth number 3 is that baby needs to be able to sit on his own for 1 minute or 2 minutes before self-feeding. And I understand where this idea comes from, that baby needs to sit on their own without support, because baby does need to have a certain amount of neck and trunk strength to self-feed, to be able to get food to his mouth without using arms for balance, to be able to you know, lean forward to spit food out as a safety mechanism rather than being stuck slumped backwards, which could cause food, you know, to fall to the back of their throat. Obviously, they can't coordinate swallowing and breathing if they're stuck slumped forward and don't have some of that strength. But around 6 months, most babies will have enough strength to self-feed, even if they can't sit without support. And sit them in their high chair, roll up towels just so that they are sitting up. But as long as, you know, they can lean forward and spit food out, don't know where this 1 to 2 minutes sitting on their own rule came from. If you go to Jill Rapley's site, she started the baby-led weaning, you know, whole concept and has the baby-led weaning book. She has an article on this called Sitting Upright, What Does It Mean? And even to quote from this article, Jill says, there's no need to wait until she can stay upright with no support at all, or until she can get herself into a sitting position. There's no 60-second rule, as some believe. So 2 of my babies didn't start sitting on their own until 8.5 months, and I certainly wouldn't have been comfortable waiting to start solids until that point, because I know the importance of nutrition and some of the other benefits of starting solids around 6 months. So myth number 4 is you can't combine finger foods and pureeds. Your baby's going to get confused. They're going to choke. Again, I have no idea where this comes from, but a lot of the Facebook groups will say you have to wait 2 weeks. If you've been feeding pureeds, stop feeding your baby anything for 2 weeks before you start finger foods, or they're going to get confused. No. Actually, Health Canada recommends finger foods and pureeds right from the start. and again, I have no idea where this came from, and I think it's far more dangerous to wait 2 weeks without feeding your baby anything, knowing that it's really important for them to be getting in iron and allergens rather than, you know, to feed them both. And it's very true that, you know, if you're feeding your baby periods, you're not doing true baby-led weaning. And you may want to look at the reasons why you want your baby eating periods, because we don't want to, you know, top them up. You know, if you're worried that they're not getting enough, you don't want to force them to eat more via spoon feeding. So we do need to be certainly responsive feeders if we're spoon feeding, but it is not dangerous to combine both if that's what you choose to do. So I hope that was helpful. I know it's going to be controversial and some people will not like this video, but again, I'm coming at this as a nutrition expert who has worked with other feeding experts like occupational therapists. I have a master's degree, so I know how to read the research. You know, I've written a book, so I have a lot of knowledge behind this besides starting baby-led weaning with my own kids, which I did as well. If you want more information about baby-led weaning, I do have a webinar where I go into these myths in a little more detail, as well as talk about the 5 benefits of baby-led weaning and share some information about my e-course. So you can click the link in my Instagram bio to find that, or head to my website, firststepnutrition.com/B, capital L, capital W, webinar to register for that. Thanks for watching.